So to recap what we have actually, because there was some couple of days of gap, so I'll try to recap. We try to look at the entire architecture or the three-tier architecture for now, but I also told you that we will try to see an entire architecture. Basically, you have a browser, then browser submits request, and it goes to the server, say servlet, and there you talk to the database and get data and give it back. So that browser renders the data. So basically you have browser, you have server, within the server you have say servlets or JSP. JSP I'll introduce later, but that in turn talks to database. So there are basically three different components: browser in the server application, that is your servlet, and then database. So there's at high level that is a three-tier architecture. So basically web servers, what they do is, if you're talking about web server, basically they process your HTTP request. What is HTTP? HTTP is a protocol for web request. Okay, how we have to send, we have actually looked at, the HTTP headers and HTTP protocols. I must have screenshots here. So basically web server will take your HTTP request, and it knows how to process the request. If you're talking about Java based web server, the HTTP protocol is implemented, the support for HTTP is implemented with servlets and JSPs.
Other callers on the call.
We are looking at servlets, and on the JSPs we have JSP stands for Java server pages, right? We will look at JSP later. So Java web servers basically support a web the HTTP with this particular servlets and JSP technology. And what we are working with is Tomcat 6.0, and 1.6 is the JDK version that we have. So this is something like, with the admin console of Tomcat, when you type your 127.0.0.1:8080, if assuming 8080 is your default port, you will see a Tomcat administration screen. And we also looked at there is some configuration called Tomcat users.xml also in the Tomcat conf folder. And if you add the particular user admin, we saw that the user the role was, there was admin role, admin UI or something. So if you give that role, then we know how to look at, if you click on the Tomcat manager in this particular link, we know how it works, right? From Eclipse, how we create a dynamic web application is Eclipse file new dynamic web project. Then just make sure that you are selecting 2.5 as the specification, right? So now this Eclipse creates a set of folders. If you look at this, it creates SRC and web content. SRC will have the Java code, and web content will have actual web related stuff. That in turn will have where you can put your JSP files as well as HTML files. Remember, web content, you put all your web application related stuff. Typically what you need to have in web applications is the JavaScript files, the style sheets, HTMLs, images. Everything should go into web content folder only. Then you can for now you discard this particular thing. You can work with the Tomcat directly. So we can right click and run as Java server application. Okay, regarding HTTP, and you can pretty much see here how it looks like. We looked at the GET request and response. So Firefox, these are the couple of Firefox plugins that we thought we will use them. Now going at last time we did create a HTML file. How many of you actually understood that? Is there any problem with understanding in this particular HTML? Let me run this. Run on server application. and try to use multiple different HTML input options. And why is that I have my username password duplicated? Username password duplicated. Okay. Basically like this, I was putting that into HTML format. What am I doing? Yes. So, hi Charles, welcome back. So you are able to make it finally. Charles, you there? I'm Harinath. Actually, I logged in with a different account. Okay. I'm not sure, but this is what I typed something and click submit, and we wrote a servlet that knows how to process the request. And how do we take request from? How do we take the request from this particular guy? Whatever HTML form is submitting the data using request.get parameter. See, I only captured only two particular values. I only took two particular values, and in the hello.html, I have so many. I try to explain, how do we create HTML, the checkboxes, radio buttons. I try to explain other things. Let me have it. So let me explain this HTML file once again. HTML is stands for hypertext markup language, and always you have a head. HTML is the root element. Okay, first you need to have HTML that is supposed to have equivalent closing element. How do we close an element? You type this slash backslash and you type the same element name HTML. Then you have head. You actually, like, we have a lot of use out of with this particular thing. We put all your style sheets, HTML or JavaScript. We write your JavaScript code or include JavaScript files. So we do a lot of stuff in the head part. But for now, this is empty. You can pretty much see here. I can write even the head for one sec, title. Right. Then you have your body, and the body contains your HTML elements. The body contains your HTML elements. Basically, like in there are multiple things. If you are learning, about the headers, this is heading 1. Then say suppose there is H2, different sizes, H3. Like this, you can keep doing it. I think H4 or H5 or H6 you will get. Okay. So, and excellent. And then let me refresh for your benefit. I hear something. Okay. Yeah, it's all. See here, hello world. This is header 1, heading 1. This is heading 2. This is heading 3. So it comes with a different, by default it reduces the font size, everything. Okay, so that's how you can do headers. I'm just trying to explain the basic HTML stuff so that we will not have any problem. And that's actually like you need to spend some extra effort and go to W3 Schools website and maybe you can learn from there. W3 Schools. W3 School, yeah. You can pretty much learn from this website. Okay. So you can learn all the various elements. It's pretty much very simple and straightforward. See here, this is how they explain. Okay. Right. You can pretty much, explore the HTML part on your own. And that's actually not really like a major part of what the training that we are planning to do. So I'll give you a brief introduction about how we need to use, and you go and explore on your own. Any doubts, you let me know, because learning HTML will that's a different topic altogether. So our focus is how do we process HTTP requests and build web applications with Java, right? So there is a form element. This form element, if you have to submit some data, if you have to submit some data, so you need to actually bundle them within a form. We need to bundle them within a form. So that form element has there's something called name. You can give the name, whatever you feel like giving. And there is a important. There are two important properties, and they are method equal to post or get. Method equal to, it can support get as well. Let me try doing get. And action equal to, you give a servlet name. Servlet name as per the mapping of your web.xml. So the servlet that I have is, see here, we looked at the servlet mappings. Web.xml is the very heart of your Java web application, right? So here what I do is I give a name. Basically, like these two are not required. If these are the important properties, is servlet name. First you define a servlet. So you give the servlet class. Here my servlet class is com.javademo. Another servlet is the servlet class, and I have a name, servlet name. So I'm giving a servlet class and servlet name. This is important configuration. And now I need to map this configuration with the URL that user can use. Say I say that slash another, right? So let me rename this to login servlet and make changes everywhere so that it looks, I mean, we are trying to do something related to login. So how I rename? I rename here, and then it must show some compilation error. Yes, there is indeed a compilation error, and here rename the compilation unit to this. And what else I need to do? If I need to rename my servlet, I need to change now the hello world one, the other one. I need to make this is a login servlet. Just login, this is the name, and here I need to map it with, let me say login, and in my HTML I need to change the action name to login. I don't need to specify a slash here, it will take care of that. So there are method is important thing, we looked at it. Method is get, means it will actually send the request into, let me close this and rerun, because it need to recompile my servlet. Okay. See, when I click submit, oops, it did not refresh. See here, what it tried to do was login, username, login, question mark, username equal to test, password equal to this, and it shows all the options. Whatever you are trying to give input values, it's actually like showing there. And but there is an error. You must know this error. I am trying to do the different error combinations. It says HTTP status 405. HTTP method get is not supported by this URL. That actually means that in my servlet, I did not write the particular do get method. What I'll do is I'll just copy paste this particular thing into do get as well. This is a do post method, and for me it doesn't really matter. So what I'll do is I change this. Please stop me if you find anything difficult. So I do have now do get method. Let me see if it would. Server need to I think it need to rebuild. Office web has restarted. Yeah, I mean get request is working now. See. Essentially, like when I submit some data, okay, this is my form. So you need to, if you have to submit some data to server, then by the user, then you need to have a form, and that form will have input. Basically, like this is important here until the input type equal to text, right? And then goes input type equal to password. So these are the important things for me. And then I try to put a table, HTML table element. The syntax for table is, if you don't put the table, we looked at it already, like it doesn't, the formatting is not good. So the table such as has the syntax is table, and then you have closing element for table, and then you have tr. Tr stands for table row. Tr stands for table row. The for each row, what the data elements I need to show. Td means table data. Okay, so first I am showing one column. This represents a column. So first row, first column is name. I show labeled. Okay, just plain text name. And then second column in the first row is input type equal to text, name equal to username. So that shows you here this particular input field. And we have seen hello world headers earlier, so I don't talk about it, but this is actually whatever we have here is a table, and I can pretty much make that visible, the table, by making the border. Did I save this? Am I doing anything wrong? Why is it not reflecting? Okay. It should be reflecting. Border के okay, for TD we have border color red. Doesn't work. Okay, let me not deviate by trying to solve this problem. Basically, like the table, let me discard these particular properties for now. That should work. There's there's a straightforward thing. But my focus is I'm trying to explain you the HTML elements. Table has this syntax, and that has internally row. And how we actually structure our data is that you put TDs into this. So first TD means table data element. So first I'm putting a label, and then I'm putting input field, and then I'm creating one more row and say password and input type equal to password and password field. That's making it to look in a structured way. Yeah. See here, they're coming in a proper order. Earlier, if I don't keep this, they were coming, name, there was no space. Immediately input field was coming. So a bit of confusion was there, right? So now I close, for everything you need to close, TD I start, I close TD, and I start another TD, and see here at the end I close the TD. And once I close the TD, that particular row also I need to close. This means the complete row. This particular thing is a complete row. And then goes another row for password, and then when I'm done, okay, this is what I need to put my main structure, my table. So I'm done with the table, so I'm closing the table, right? That's about the login related structure. So also I tried to explain on the other day that the selection options, say you need to show a drop down. This is how I show a particular drop down value. See here, select name equal to my option. I gave some name the way I gave username and password here on the top, username and the password. Similarly, I give selection name is my option and give option value equal to 1, option 2 equal to option 2. Okay, so I give this. Now goes input type equal to checkbox. That's about the drop down. Now how do we make checkboxes? I say type equal to checkbox, then I'm giving name, then value equal to 1. Checkbox 1 is the text. Similarly, I wrote another input field, and gave the same name. I gave the same name and value different. Here I mentioned the checkbox, the checkbox 2, and the value is different. Now radio buttons. Similar, input type equal to radio, name equal to my radio, and I try to give 2 different values. So let us see the output. Okay. Now when I select this particular things, look at this, and say I change the radio button values. Okay. Radio buttons work, only one of them can be selected. Now see here. If you observe these values, now username equal to, I did not give anything in the username. Let me give some value there. Password. You need to understand how the data is sent to the server. Please pay attention to this. So I just what are the things I did? I created a HTML file. And I have a form element where I said get and action equal to login. So and what is my login? Login is a servlet. And when I submit, when I say, the get actually helps you to see the data directly here. All the data you will see. The username equal to Harinath, password equal to password, my option equal to 2, my option, what is my option? Drop down, and my check equal to 1 and my check equal to 2. So here, there are 2 times it is repeating. That's primarily because you have selected 2 checkboxes. So data comes like this, and then my radio equal to 1 and submit equal to, my radio is the radio button 1 and submit equal to login. The submit button name is login. See here, submit button value I gave you here as a login, right? So this gives a fair understanding about how we really need to build our applications, right? So what I'll try to rename this as login.html, and also let's have one more. So the first one should probably rename it to login get, and I'll do this particular HTML here. I change it to post. Okay, so I made 2 HTMLs now with the same content. Now I enter something. Okay, select another one. See here, the difference is that when you post a form with a post method in the HTML and with a get method in the HTML, method equal to get, method equal to post. The difference is that in case of get, all your form data gets appended to the URL. See here, there is a question mark here. So your URL, you might have seen in all the websites. So your URL here, and then goes the from here after question mark, everything goes in each property name and value name. Please pay attention. Separated by ampersand. So username equal to Harinath here. That means one property is done. So then ampersand, that means there is a different property starting now, and that password equal to password. When I just give the password value as password, so that's over. Now ampersand, that means I'm starting another property here, and then again ampersand goes here, again ampersand goes here. So like this, in get method you can clearly see what is happening, what data is going. But then when you're doing a login, you should never ever do get method. Any guesses why we should not do get method when you are designing a form method, login form? Volunteers? Jimmy, Nilima?
So it's gonna save in the history.
Sorry?
So you're not gonna save in the history and anybody can see later on.
Yeah. You see the password here up front. Explicitly it is visible. Though you hide the password in the form, it doesn't, here it doesn't show. But then the moment I submit, and it shows the password. So for login at least you should not use, and most of the cases when you are designing your web application, you should, if you are posting some data, you have a form, try to always use method equal to post. And see the difference that you get with other or approach is that in this case it is straightforward, simple. You don't see anything there, but the data goes to the server. Right? So this is about the basic login HTML that we are planning to do. And any doubts with this? Any doubts with this? And I'll give you this link. I'll post it in the chat. So please, okay, fine. Okay, I see. Charles, I see your response now. Sorry, I did not see earlier. So you can hear me, right? Please, if you have any questions about the software, please do let me know, because you can hear me. So that's the reason I'm speaking out. Okay. So maybe we can sort it out today after this particular call. I can make you presenter and I'll fix the problems in your computer. So anyway, there's just another 12 minutes for this class. So I'll fix your whatever problems you have in your software. Okay. Right. So that's the message for Charles. He is not able to speak. Fine. So now what is the next step? What I'll do is I will this login um, to reduce complexity with the HTML form. I'll just make one more form called plain login. Okay, and I'll remove all this junk. Whatever is not required, I'll remove it. One moment. What I'll do is login. Okay, so form also login form. Just name the form, say the suffix as form so that it looks clear. And let me get rid of this radio buttons and checkboxes. That was more for HTML syntax. And actually I want to do one more thing. Please pay attention. I'll create one more row tr and close my row, then td, okay, and td, and then try to put my submit button within this td. But how many tds I need to have in this table? Here each row has 2 columns, right? Each row has 2 columns. See here, TD, I have 2 TDs, and here also TD, I have 2 TDs. So there are 2 columns in each row, and in this case I only have one TD. So what I can do is that I can advise this particular HTML to occupy the 2 of them, so that it doesn't disturb the UI. Say call span equal to 2, align equal to, say I may say, right. Now let me and I'll make this as post. Okay, let's go with the proper one. Let me run this. See here, it went to the right side here. Can you notice this particular thing? Okay, and other small change maybe I'd prefer to do is what other properties I have? This is equal to, say, maybe say 400%, and comma. Vertical line. Let me see how it looks like. Okay, again for now let me not worry too much about styles. I'll introduce these styles. It needs some expertise. Okay, let me have the same login form, and you submit something. Excellent. Now what we need to do, let's go to the next step. What is the next step? So what we need to do is, so I'll explain you in the regular format how I really want a application to be. Okay, there should not be any complexity. So if you find any complexity, do let me know. What I'll try to do is, I'll try to make now similar to, I'll create one more package, or what I'll do is I'll try to rename this to something called Java demo dot, or maybe office com dot office web dot web. I'll put all my servlets into this particular package. Okay, now I'm restructuring the servlets, please pay attention. So because I changed this particular thing, and I need to go and change in the web.xml as well. The web.xml I need to change. Oops, I did not copy it properly. Copy, go here, paste it here, and that that makes it. So for now I'll leave Java demo stuff as is. Now here what I'll do is, and I'll just push some of the code from what I'll do is, okay, I'll write it, but I'll take inference from our earlier structure. So here new other, and I'll let's write a class called I'm writing a class called. If you find any difficulty, please do let me know, because I try to introduce too much of, not complexity, but no, DAO. I'll call this as a DAO. I'll try to make this is in a proper format that I always like to. Okay, I made two classes there. So what I'll do is I'll loan some of the code from here to here. I'll make this as a public static for now. Okay, so I have my JDBC connection manager, and I have a login, and what I need to do is write our code for login. Do we have any login code? I think we don't have. So let me close this. I try to rent my other code. I'm just trying to save some time by trying to loan my code that I did earlier in other projects to ours. But there should not be too much of difficulty for you to. I'll explain anyway. JDBC connection manager dot get connection. Excellent. And for now, no encryption, plain password. Okay, so I don't need these classes. I don't need these classes. Now that actually means we will change this, okay? Employee. So this should be query should be employee table, right? And where is my, oops, I have so many projects right here. And office web, not here. Office web src, okay, fine. And I think what the basically what we need to really do is that we need to have this username and password fields in the employee table, okay? So the login complete scenario, how it should be like this, how it should be is that from, let me close all of this and start fresh, and let me close my other applications. So we have plain code, okay? See here. Now let me go here, login.html, and I have a simple HTML form. When I submit, control goes to do post method here. So here what I need to do is, sorry, I can create login DAO equal to new login DAO. Here I call this as login DAO dot login. I give username and here password. And what does it return? And why the hell access throwing exception? Okay, this throws exception. Now I don't like this exception. Rather, I'll do, let's run with the try catch. Okay. So basically, like what I want to do is that if there is any problem with the database, login will fail. So let me open my MySQL workbench as well. So I'm actually trying to separate out the layers. Okay, I'm trying to separate out the layers. Okay, I do have Office, and I have username as underscore. Okay, excellent. And let me save this into date Office web. I'll create one more folder, just to track this particular thing called database, and fine, because everything will be together. Now what is the username here? User underscore name. So where user underscore name equal to and password equal to, I'm making this query, and what I will do is I'll insert username Hari, password is test1. Okay, let me do a forward engineer. This is the same thing that we did while we are learning with learning JDBC, right? So I'll try to do something. -p. So use Office start from employee. So these users are there. Okay. Now in login servlet, let me not. I'm no longer interested in just displaying this value. So what I will do is here I'll say right here. Your login status is result. Okay, let's put a semicolon. Hopefully this works for us. And let me see what password I gave. Root secret. Excellent. So this should be working for us. So let me run this application. Restart. I don't mind. And the username is Hari and test1 is the password. Your login status is false. And why? Is there any exception? Excellent. There is indeed an exception. So no suitable driver is found. Any guesses what we need to do? Yes. What is the fix for this? No volunteers? No volunteers? Let me refresh and see. Show you the error. It says not suitable driver found for JDBC MySQL localhost 3306/office. What is the problem? Jimmy, Nilima, Charles, Manasmita, Prafula. Why did I get this error? Come on, we did JDBC.
Oh, because of the driver for the topic.
Driver? The driver jar was not there in the class path. So for web application, the jar should be there in the web inf lib folder. There's one more learning that is for today is that all your jars for a web application should be placed in this particular one. Right now I just placed it right now. So what I'll do is I'll try to restart my application. Okay, and I'm retrying test1. Login status is true. See here. Is this clear? What I did was a simple login page that works against the database. And let me see if it really works. And let me give some junk value. It's false. Right? So, so for the takeaway for today is to do this in each computer that you own. Since each one of you should actually do this in a separate application on your own, end to end. That's a bit heavy thing, but please do that for me. I request you, please do this, because if you understand this flow, this is a basic, very basic bare minimum flow. What I try to do, I wrote a HTML file for login form, and then I'm submitting it with a post method in the top. See here, post, and I'm submitting to something called login. And in the login servlet, what I'm doing, do post method. When you use post method, I need to write do post method. Here I'm reading the request.get parameter, username and password, and then I have this login DAO I'm calling the login DAO dot login. See, if you clearly understand, you can, many people can write their JDBC code directly in the servlet. But in the servlet, you do some validations and all, basically username is null, username is password is null or not, that kind of validations. You need to, first place, you need to do that in the HTML page itself, and then you need to do that in the servlet as well. You need to do validation and controlling part. You need to do, predominantly, you need to do that kind of thing into the servlet and not the JDBC code. JDBC code, people, you need to write that in a separate classes, so that your JDBC, that's data access layer, is a separate one altogether. See, you can pretty much write JDBC code right here. I can get rid of, delete this code. I open a JDBC connection and try to write the code and all. But that also works, but it is not the best practice. So when you are learning something, let us learn in the proper way. And I have seen this problem with many students, because recently I worked with one particular college in India, and the students, they put every code, everything that they need to write into Servlet. Though I explained that, boss, you should not do like this, but that's how they were actually doing it, because of that lack of time and lack of understanding and something like that. So, but for you, I'm actually telling you, we can do that code, JDBC code right here instead of this, but I'm saying let's do that in a separate class. One advantage you get is with this layered approach is that, in my case, the database password is secret. If your password is something different, you can only change in just one place. Otherwise, if you don't do this kind of structure, I need to put that, wherever I need to open the connection in a number of places, and that many number of places I need to change my password. So this is a structured approach. So you try to understand this and try to do this code in your application. And always see, if it doesn't work, then what you need to do? You need to check the console, see if there are any errors. And other thing is, let us do something. Okay, I'll show you how. You can debug the application. Let us say debug on the server. Instead of run as, use debug as and click yes. Okay, now I type test1, goes into a login status. Okay, I think I need to do this as well. Debug on the server and do that for the servlet. Okay, that's fine. So I'll go back, test1. So here it goes into debug mode. So now here I can pretty much see line by line what is coming. Username, see here I got Hari, and now here test1. Now I created an object. Now I press F5 to go into it. You know F5, right? F5, F6 debugging I explained already. So here connection, let me see whether I got a connection. Yes, I got a valid connection. There is no exception, and there's a valid connection. There is a statement. I'm executing the statement. And now basically, like, username password combination is unique. So I queried the database, so I got the data, and because I got the data, I'm not bothered about anything else now. If there is no data found with the given username and password, it will return, this will not enter into the while loop at all, and it will by default it will be false. In my case, see here it exited, and it set the value to true. That is the reason it is working. So you need to know the debugging part. And you need to know the complete end-to-end flow. I'll commit this code right away, and that's it for today. And you guys can leave. I have, if you are interested, you can still pretty much be there. I'm going to make Charles as presenter. Charles, can you please share your screen and explain me your problem? Maybe you can just type the problem. I made you presenter. Please make me presenter and give me control as well. And meanwhile, I'll try to commit my code. There's a lot of it for today. Yeah, show me your errors, Charles. What error you have with Eclipse? So in case of others, you understood the flow completely. I hope so. And if you don't, please let me know. Let me know what's your what the issues you face. But the end to end, if you do from HTML, Servlet, and JDBC, you're little bit you are that's you know how to build a basic application, bare minimum application, and on top of it, if you apply styles and validations, it becomes very interesting. And as it opens, 1 minute, I'll be back in a moment. The Eclipse is opening. So far I'm back, and for Tomcat, the way I explained you is that to download the zip file and extract it, and then you can work with it. But other way is that the one that you see in this screen, in the Charles screen, that you can pretty much download the exe file and you can install it. Okay. So Charles, can you please type in the problem that you are facing? You have your Tomcat installed, I hope so. Make me presenter. Give me control. Give me control, not the presenter. Give me control. No, I understand this. Give me control, Charles. I want to control. On the right side of your GoToMeeting panel, you have something called Give Keyboard and Mouse. And this GoToMeeting control panel on the right hand side, you have Give Keyboard and Mouse. You have that. So actually, like I'll tell you. I mean, okay, excellent. I have controls. Basically, one mistake I see that you did not create a web application, rather you created a Java application. So what you need to do is you need to go here to the file. No. File. Create a file because Charles, I think you are operating. So file new. Now click other. Click other. No. Click other. In the bottom, yes. And okay, I think you have it in the top as well. But now you need to in the web, there will be web folder. Wait a moment. Come down. Still down. Web. You click on the double click on this web folder is there, right? Extract, and there is a parent element. Yeah, dynamic web project. Second one there. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Give a name. Give some name. And yeah, right. Then here dynamic web module, and the drop down you select as 3.0. Dynamic web module. Sorry, 2.5. Oops. No, 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 no. You need to redo this. The project name is fine, but the dynamic web module version, you have to select. Wait. Let it go. Let it go. That the dynamic web module version, you need to make that as a 2.5 in order to follow my class, because I am using that particular thing. I don't need any control now because you can pretty much do it. Oops. It's really creating the project. We clicked finish, I think.